got Zogod and
Buffy!
today we got a special guest.
Alicia.
Now, Alicia, can you say your age, your relationship status, and give your social media?
19, single, and it's Anna Alicia. Try to remember that,
Okay.
please. And Vamp Bunny with 2 P's.
Okay. And today we're gonna be discussing like the dating space and the many problems that people run into relationships, whether it's good or bad, or any red flags people notice. So I like to know, based off the last relationship you was in, like anything you learned that was like good or bad that you would like to discuss and let the viewers know.
Definitely if they are very not a family person, like they really only stick to themselves and they're not connected with anyone.
Okay. So then you do you think like a person that dealt with being raised off survival and someone that's raised off love, do you think like those two dynamics can work, or do you think both people have to get raised in a similar background?
I feel like it could work if both are like communicating, but from my personal experience, it did not work, even with communicating.
Okay. Well, I'll say my personal experience, I'll say I've dealt with a lot of females that was like raised off survival, whether they didn't have like a father figure in their life or any positive male role models. So like I kind of run into that space of a lot of females somewhat looking at me as in a father figure way, since there's so much stuff that they, whether they didn't hear the truth or they're not used to being rejected or hearing the word no. What about you, Buff?
What was the question again?
The question was like any issues you think that you could have ran into your last relationship, or any issues you run into in the current relationship that you're in now.
Yeah, I'd say one of the biggest issues you run into when it comes to relationships, guys, is really like communication. A lot of people in our generation, and even in the past generation, even though they're adults, they have a big problem with communicating on a mature level. A lot of them go to arguing or yelling or spatting or fighting instead of just talking out the issue calmly and concisely between each other and getting the main points out. Another problem I see a lot when it comes to communication is the people's ability to resolve the issue. A lot of people, they like to not resolve the issue or leave it to tomorrow or the next day or the next day. And a lot of people don't understand, when you leave things to tomorrow or the next month or the next year, a lot of times you tend to build resentment towards that person. And the more resentment you build towards that person, it's bound to explode one day. And I feel like that's a lot of problems that people run into these days. Okay. So I'd say communication. So that's what I ran into a lot, communication.
Okay, so like...
or at least an effort to make communication. Because like, if you're a bad communicator, you have to at least have an effort to become a good communicator, or it'll never work out.
Okay. So, do you believe like being honest and transparent is a good way to communicate? And like, what did you learn to like figure out a better way to communicate towards your partner?
Yeah, so I'd say transparency is always best. You know what I'm saying? I always like to say that nothing's nicer than the truth. A lot of people don't agree with that because the truth can sometimes come off as harsh depending on what the truth is. But you always want to be truthful with your partner. Like, it's better to be truthful than to lie about it and get caught lying down the line. It's always better to tell the truth. And I'd say the way that I learned that lesson is, I think it was like 2019 or 2017. I was fresh to dating. You know, I didn't start dating until I was in college.
Yeah.
So I was fresh to dating and stuff like that. And I made a very... I wouldn't say common mistake, because a lot of people said it was a common sense, but I made a mistake where I thought it was okay to talk to my ex while being in a relationship. And you know me, I don't cheat, so it was very innocent. You know what I'm saying? You know, I used to love her. I felt bad for her. She needed someone to vent to, and I was the only one she had. So I communicated back to her. My current girlfriend, she didn't really like that. And it's just being aware of certain things like that, or communicating with your partner to see where their boundaries are at. Because some partners out there, they don't mind if you talk to your ex. If y'all are like super good friends and stuff like that, they might talk to their ex still. You know what I'm saying? Things might have ended mutually, but you need to know that about your partner so you don't make common mistakes like that.
Okay, makes sense. How do you feel about still being cool with your ex, or like having some kind of relationship with that person, or discussing, because he was mentioning that he was discussing stuff with his ex about his current girl. So how do you feel about that situation? Is that something you would accept, or?
I don't know, because I feel like the actual status of the relationship matters a lot, because if also depends on your partner, because if they're making you feel confident and secure, you wouldn't mind them talking to your ex, because I felt that way with someone, but I've also felt insecure with them being in contact with their ex that they were still friends with. So I feel like I'm on the fence about it.
So is this something like, do you have to know how that relationship ended for you to like be cool with them still talking to their ex about you? Cause I don't know. The way I see it, like, I guess it really depends what that person accepts. Cause I don't know. I would have to know why they feel their ex is the person that they need to go to. I want to know why the last person you was either having sex with or you had love for, why is this your safe spot to talk about me to them? Because you could just be telling them like information that can help them take you away from the person that you're still with.
I'd say for me, it was really just like me and my ex. We ended because I wasn't her type. She liked hood dudes, and I'm not a hood dude. I'm more of a like golfy alt type of person. So she liked hood dudes. She wanted to get back with her ex that was a hood guy, but like we were best friends. Like at the end of the day, like we got along real well. So like that communication with her, it was like I was losing someone that was always there for me as a best friend. I knew her all throughout high school. So it was just like losing a big part of my life. So every time we would talk, even though we wasn't dating and I had no interest of going back to her, and I was in love with my current girlfriend, it just felt like I still wanted to tell her the most deepest, darkest things and the most personal things about myself. Not that I wasn't telling my girlfriend those things too, but you know, like it's just like losing a friend. Like I vent to you sometimes. Like it'll be like losing you. You know what I'm saying? Now I gotta find someone else to vent to, because there's certain stuff you can't vent to your girlfriend about. Yeah, you might offend her or you might make her sad, and you gotta consider like what you say and what you do and how it affects your partner and stuff like that. So some things you just really can't come to your partner about, because if you're too transparent with certain things, you might hurt them unintentionally, especially when you're like a hyper logical creature, because not every woman's a hyper logical creature. Like I know my current girlfriend, she's more on the soft girl, emotional side, and she knows that. So when we get into logical conversations, we kind of butt heads. So like in a situation like that, if I was still texting my ex, I may have texted her. But I know better now. I know my girl wouldn't allow me to text my ex. So I just talk to you about logical shit.
Okay. So based on like what you just heard, like would you be okay with if the person you was dating was doing stuff like that?
I think so, because I know I've also done it, and I knew I could not go to him about it, because you know, I don't know, because at the time he wasn't understanding, but the one I was with before was more understanding. I felt more connected to him in that way, personally.
Yeah.
Which doesn't really sound good, but
yeah,
I didn't get that in my current relationship.
Like it didn't sound good for my part either. Like when I was trying to explain it to her, I was just like, I sound dumb.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I understand what both you guys are saying. Like I was the person that was doing it, but I know if it was happening, if it was the other way around, I wouldn't even let that shit fly. I wouldn't even be. I wouldn't want to be with that person. Like, cause you have to think like maybe if you don't try to think it's an innocent thing to do. Because your relationship, whether you was like real cool or y'all was like real close, like there's always gonna be some kind of like tension or like would it work now, or there are things that we could fix that you could like end up leaving this person. Because if you go into a girl, she could just mention like you must still value me since you're coming to me about your current girlfriend. Like there's issues that you're having with them, but then there's that other issue is she could be thinking, okay, this is cool for him to do with me, but then what if we get together, then he does the same thing, but to some other girl. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like your friends or the people you are with can like they could end up having like a large opinion on the relationship you're having. So I feel like some things you shouldn't tell your friend or people you are cool with, because like they can almost change your perspective on like your partner. Because only you know your partner. You know the stuff they're doing. So you could be venting to your friend, and your friend could probably be like, okay, I wouldn't let this fly. Or this person has to be doing this for this kind of reason. Then you go back to go tell your girl or your boyfriend. Now there's more issues because you just heard a different side to like a story. But you only told your friend or the person you're talking to a certain side of it. They don't really know your partner. So they can like come up with like something you're not gonna agree with.
Yeah.
Because you know who your partner is and how they feel, but you're just mad at the moment and you need a different perspective. But they say the more you talk to other people, you start realizing the fucked up situation you're in. Like most times, a girl or guy, they're telling their friend about how they're getting cheated on, and they like hearing the stuff that they're saying about this person. They realize how bad of a person this person really is, and all the evil stuff they're probably doing. But then there's other stuff that the person could be doing that's way good. Like you can have a girl that's real toxic, but she's the only girl that's there for you and putting up with stuff and always looking out, and no one else could be doing it. So you could be putting up and settling and trying to turn another eye to some of the things she could be doing.
I do feel like that also falls on the person that's sharing with their ex at the time. Like you have to be hyper aware that you got to take all advice with a grain of salt. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
you can value your friend's opinion, but at the end of the day, like you said, they don't know your girl the way you know your girl, or they don't know your guy the way you know your guy. So it's your job to extrapolate what they said and try to apply it in that situation while still understanding your partner. Like you got to realize that they're coming from a perspective of only knowing your side of the story, and if you don't realize that, then you'll end up running into inevitable issues like you was just explaining.
Yeah. So then, this is a question for like both of you guys. Then like, what do you think is like acceptable for your friend or other people to know about that's happening in your relationship? And what do you think are information you shouldn't share? Like, and it could be like anything. It could be anything.
Because I've experienced that, but like now hearing it from both of you, I feel like relationship business should stay just in the relationship, because like you know your partner and only you know your partner and exactly what happened. You know both sides because you were there.
Yeah.
So because you only tell your friend one side, you never tell them the other side.
Yeah.
But if you get both intakes and you get their like personal opinion on the matter, it might be different. And they might also see you're wrong in it or they're wrong in it. But then you should really only be discussing that with your partner.
Yeah. I'd say the things that you can discuss with your friends is just like issues that you felt like your partner didn't understand you in, that you need to like realize that you're not tripping in. Like the only time I'd ever come to like Zay, for instance, or Zogod, for instance, about a problem would be something where I felt like I was in a right, but I want to make sure that I am not tripping and I'm not like coming from an emotional state, like a hyper emotional state where I'm being irrational.
Yeah.
But I feel like you got to be very careful with what friends you share that information with. Like, I have a lot of respect for Zogod because he's a very logical creature. So like, if I'm wrong, I know Zogod would tell me I'm wrong. But if you don't know for sure your friend's the type of person that tell you you're wrong when you're wrong, then I'd say yeah, I'd agree with you. It would be detrimental to the relationship to share that information with them, because if you share that information with them, they're going to probably give you bad advice. But if you go to someone that actually will be like, yeah, bro, you was tripping in that situation, your girl's right, maybe you should apologize to her, then you can share that information with her, but with your friend. But I'd say things that you shouldn't share with your friend is like very personal shit, like anything personal about your relationship, whether it be your love life, how you go about communicating and pleasing your girl, anything your girl does to impress you, like all those things, whether you think your friend's solid or not, I feel like you should stray on the path of safeness, because a lot of people run into issues where they tell people too much good things about their partner, and then their friend ends up trying to take their partner from them. And then all those, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to be put in those sort of situations, because now you're going to lose a friend and possibly a girlfriend or boyfriend at the same time.
Yeah, I think sometimes like guys, like I'll say guys can somewhat be. I think both guys and females can run into that issue where they're saying too much good stuff about their girl, and then like their friend ends up just being attracted to, because they're just amazed at like all the good stuff that this girl's doing for like their friend. But I feel like
the Kobe dude.
Yeah, I feel like you shouldn't. I really feel like you shouldn't be looking at your girl. You should look at your friend's girl as somebody you want, or she could be with you one day. Like, yeah. I don't know. I think that's like a different mindset to have, and if that's your guy, if that's your bro or your sis, like boyfriend or girlfriend, like why should you feel like you want this person too? Like it's too many people on this planet for like you to want the same person this person wants, especially if they're dealing with them at that exact moment.
Yeah.
But I do feel like you are correct when it comes to like certain personal stuff about this person. But there are some people that feel like almost everything in a relationship is personal and like you shouldn't reveal it. Cause I know I'm someone that will like go to like different people like just to hear their opinion on it, just to like see how would they have gone about a situation. Cause I know I've talked to a girl who just felt like nothing that went on between us should ever be discussed within anybody. It should like stay between like the four walls. But I just felt like if I can't get to you about certain stuff, then like if no common ground could be formed, I have to like at least hear someone else out, like you were saying with the like maybe you're tripping.
Yeah.
To like see if like maybe I'm not approaching this in the right direction, and especially if both of you guys are feeling some kind of way, it's hard to figure out who's right or who's wrong or what common ground we should form or like what should we settle for or compromise with. So I say like that's like one of those issues.
Yeah. And it's one of those issues that can end a relationship too.
So then, like you were saying with like the communication, and I guess you were saying how your ex was it like ways that you wished or you tried to like tell him ways he could have communicated so you can like receive it in a better way?
Like how he would communicate with me?
Yeah, like did you like? Cause I know sometimes girls expect men to already have most of the stuff together. Like, it's not saying there's anything wrong with it, but every female is different. So like, there's some girls that can handle the truth, that you can be like straightforward with them. Some girls you have to like paint it in a nice way for them to understand, and there's some people you just can't say most things to them unless they're in a good mood, because they can be like a ticking time bomb. So like, what way did you prefer him to like? I want to know the way you preferred for him to communicate, and which way did you tell him he should communicate to you?
I wanted him to be upfront and honest and deep into his feelings about it, exactly like what happened, how he felt about it, what I could do to change it. And he was just like, oh, you should know this. And sometimes he wouldn't even tell me, and I would do something that he wasn't okay with, I didn't know, and he would just blow up. That I was not appreciative of.
But then, what about, okay, because I know a lot of people run into that issue where they say you should know. I think both males and females do it where like, they'll show a certain behavior, and instead of like letting their partner know this is how I want to get treated, they would just assume that you saw what they just did. So it could be a situation where like I'm always coming home and I'm always like cleaning the dishes and stuff and everything is always ready, but I have to have like soap and a sponge has to be there. But if my girl doesn't, if something is gone, then I can't do it, and I could just be assuming she knows I'm gonna do this. So if I come home and one day she did what I'm supposed to do, I'm just gonna assume like she knows I'm doing this, but I couldn't communicate with her until like, okay, like I'm gonna always clean up, I'm always gonna do the dishes, I'm always gonna do this. So when I come home, don't touch it, you don't have to worry about it. I'm gonna do this. But she could feel in her head that she didn't know, that it could have been a situation she just didn't get a chance to go do it. So I could probably communicate, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. But if I don't communicate that with her or let her know, I'm just assuming or making these assumptions, assuming that she knows like she's a mind reader. So was it like times where you could have probably did that, or he was doing it to you, that he probably did something to you, and he assumed you did something where you feel like he probably did something but you never like realized it?
I feel like in some situations, yes, but he would like still never communicate that.
Yeah, like I think people have a big issue when it comes to doing stuff like that. Like, you don't want to assume somebody already knows what they're supposed to do, because you never understand someone's upbringing. They could be raised in a household where they was never taught to do something like that, you know what I'm saying? So it's like him coming at her saying you should know how to do this. I feel like that's a very immature space to come from, because you don't understand whether or not she was taught to do that or she did it in the past before. So you can't just assume people know how to do everything. That's like assuming someone knows how to perform heart surgery when they're a dentist. Like, just because they're a dentist don't mean they can perform heart surgery too. I mean, I get they're both doctors in some format, but that doesn't mean that they're all-purpose doctors. You know what I'm saying?
I do think like assuming things is like a major issue that like most people like run into in relationships, because I think people just don't like that point of like feeling vulnerable. Like, most guys don't like open up to females because like the negative effect they probably had the first time they dealt with it, whether it was like when they got hurt, their dad told them like don't cry, be a man and stuff like that. If you growing up always hearing that, anytime you're in some kind of like pain or you're feeling some kind of way, you was never taught or ever had the opportunity to be like, I'm feeling like this. Then you have people that felt those ways, they probably communicated that with their partner, and they girl used that against them. Yeah. I know something I think most men dealt with, because I know I dealt with this probably like 2 or 3 occasions where like I did something really nice for a girl, and instead of her appreciating it, she tells me I didn't have to do that shit. And like hearing that kind of shit, like if you really care about this person, like that hits really hard, because it's like, bitch, I know I wasn't supposed to do it. Like I know I didn't have to do it, but I'm doing this for you, and the response you giving me is I didn't have to do it. So then it's like certain things people don't like doing for certain people, especially when it comes to open up. They either wasn't taught it, they had a negative experience with a particular person that they had strong feelings with, or a situation where it doesn't go nowhere. Because girls deal with that too, when they say they express how they feel, and they feel like they man he never changed anything. But it's also cases where they're doing something, but they expect the change to be like that. Like there's like certain steps someone should be able to do, and you should be able to acknowledge how they're changing to perform what you want them to start doing. Like you can't change overnight. It has to be like a daily thing, and over time we'll eventually see it.
Yeah.
So I think you should communicate on how you would like things to be done, and if the person like fucks with you enough, they'll compromise in some way so it works for like both of you guys.
Yeah. You can't know how to love someone without them telling you how to love them. And that's on both sides of the bar.
Yeah, that too. But then a lot of people don't feel like they should tell you how you should love them. I do believe you should, like...
incorrect belief, because everybody likes to be loved differently. I know I like to be loved differently, most likely differently from you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that is true, but I do believe, like, you should observe the person you with to, like, understand them, and you'll at least get, like, some glimpse of, like, the stuff they like, whether it's, like, you should be able to figure out what kind of, like, love language you have. I do believe in the beginning you should ask like those very important questions when you're first talking to someone, so you can figure out how you could love them or things you can do. There's like givers, people that like physical touch, or people that just like doing stuff for other people. But I feel like sometimes like people be so prideful, or the girl or somebody wants you to be a mind reader, that you've been doing something not knowing that this is something they don't like. Yeah. And sometimes people feel that person should just know. And I think that's wrong. Some things you could probably have an idea of, but if you're too much assuming that this person should know this and know that, your relationship's never gonna go in the right direction. Especially if you just expect them to just know what you want. So I like to say, if you know, so for your next relationship, what is something you're gonna be telling the guy that you're dealing with, as far as like communicating, like ways he could communicate better, and like certain things you would try to avoid so you end up wasting your time again.
Can you like explain that a little bit more?
So, if your last relationship it mainly ended because your ex had bad communication skills and you tried with him and it just wasn't working. So then the next person you're with, are you gonna like voice your opinion on how they should communicate with you, or are you just gonna expect them to know how to communicate?
I would voice it, and I would ask for patience as well. I feel like that takes a huge part in communication, because when something goes wrong and you're trying to communicate about it, and you don't know if it's wrong or not, but it's also how you feel, you might feel like a little vulnerable about it. Okay. So I would definitely ask for patience.
Yeah.
Do you think like the way somebody feels is like really important? Do you think like feelings over like what's really going on always matters? I know most times guys can sometimes look past how a girl feels, and the girl cares more about how she's feeling versus with the reality.
I feel like you should focus on how she feels, because it's how you're affecting her, or your actions or words, and that could like play a huge part in her insecurity.
Okay. So then what about you? Like, I know you said you was like in a relationship, like the dynamic of your relationship that you're in currently, what are things that maybe you saw early on that you either fixed or you communicated with the girl you're with that helped better your relationship?
Yeah, so I'd say some things that we had to work on was communication. Like she said, you gotta understand how your words make an individual feel. So that was a big part for me that I had to learn because I'm a very logical creature. So it's hard for me to understand how what I'm making someone, how what I'm saying is making someone feel when I'm trying to explain to them that this is the direction we need to go in to get to the solution. And my girl, she had to explain to me that sometimes she just wants to tell me how she feels. She doesn't necessarily want me to come up with a solution to the problem. And since I'm a problem solver, I normally, that's my first jump to. I want to solve the problem so we can move past this and continue on our relationship and be happy again. But sometimes you just need to sit there and listen to her. You know what I'm saying? Let her vent. Be a stoic man. I feel like being stoic is part of being a man. You know what I'm saying? Let her vent in a way where you're not snapping back at her. So you don't want to get offended by the way she feels and then use that as an excuse to diminish how she feels or be condescending or make her feel worse. Sometimes you just need to sit there, listen, let her explain herself, and then when she's ready for advice, then you give that advice.
Okay.
And I really had to learn how to do that. I ain't gonna lie, because I knew how to do it, but I took a 4-year break from dating after my last relationship. Because I'm someone that believes you shouldn't get in another serious relationship until you are completely healed. Because if you don't, then your past relationship trickles into your new relationship, and then it just ruins it. And then you may have ruined potentially a relationship with the love of your life. You know what I'm saying? So I always believed that. So I haven't dated in 4 years. I never thought you could get rusty at dating, but you could get rusty at dating. And I was really rusty in that department because when you're just dating around and playing a game, being a bachelor, you don't necessarily have to care about what you're saying and how it's making a person that you're with at that moment feel. Because she knows that she's most likely not going to be here for more than a month. And you know you're most likely not going to be here for more than a month. It's an unspoken truth y'all both know. Because she's not ready for nothing serious. And you're not ready for nothing serious. And someone like me, I'm very transparent, so I always communicate that in the beginning, which gives the girl that I'm talking to just on some like vibe shit, it gives her the opportunity to also feel safe enough to communicate that back to me and be like oh, you're not looking for nothing serious? That's great, because I'm not necessarily looking for it either. I just got out of a bad relationship, and then maybe we can bond on the fact that we both went through a bad relationship, trauma bond.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's something I really had to relearn, like to sit there, listen, and ever since I learned how to do that, my relationship been going real well. We've been getting through over a lot of hurdles real fast. We had a hurdle today that we got over because my girl, she's a virgin. So I'm her first relationship. And as her first relationship, she makes a lot of rookie mistakes like I would make in the beginning. Like talking to my ex, she doesn't have any exes, so she didn't make that mistake. But today she left the house without telling me where she was going. And we had to have a conversation about how now that you're in a relationship, you should at least let me know where you're going. Because when you're single, it's cool. You can just leave the crib, go on a walk, come back a couple hours later. There's no questions are going to be asked to you. Nobody's going to be curious about where you was at. And I had to explain to her, like, since we're in a relationship, if you do stuff like that, it comes off as suspicious because I don't know where you was at. You didn't tell me you was leaving in the first place, stuff like that. But we just sat down, talked for a couple hours, had a real good conversation. And the great thing about, like, sitting down and listening to your girl before, like, trying to find a solution and give advice is that those conversations, like, they tend to evolve into deeper conversations. Like, you just end up talking about other things, like past experiences and new experiences and what you're looking for, and then eventually you reach the solution, but at the end of that solution, you just turn out knowing your partner that much better.
Okay. Yeah, I'll agree with you. I'll say most girls that I was dealing with, they could come to me with most of the problems, and like you said, like problem solving. That's how I am. I'll say most men are like that. It's not that we don't value what you guys say or like your opinions on the way you're feeling this day. It's just most men are logical, so like how they're feeling don't matter if it doesn't like change the way this relationship is going. Like you can be sad one day and happy the next day, But I think somewhere that men like fail a lot is like they aren't really ready for the way that girls can feel on certain things. So I think that's when we're being logical too much. Like your girl could just be sad because maybe like you normally kiss her before you go in the bathroom, brush your teeth, or get ready, and you didn't kiss her today. So now she's feeling like you changing, and like if you end up doing it 2 to 3 times, she's feeling like maybe you're talking to different girls, or she's feeling some kind of way, and she can voice that opinion to you, and you're looking at it like I'm with you every day, I sleep with you, like we live together, like why wouldn't you think of that? But it's like it's these little things that you have to like be careful of, or these little habits that you think, because like most men are like habit by nature. So once your girl like figures out the habits and things you do, the moment you do something different, she possibly think you're cheating, you don't love her, or these other things. But I would say like something I had to learn, or like at least prepare myself, is be ready for like certain problems that you can be happening in a relationship. Cause like one of my last relationship I was like in, like the girl I always wanted to like be the provider and fully take care of like my girl, but I wasn't really ready for every single problem that she has. She's coming for me, because then I'm like thinking about, is this girl like dumb, like she can't figure out simple tasks? But it's more like I already displayed some of these actions, so every problem she's having, she's coming to me. And I'm thinking like, okay, I've always been saying this is what I want, so now that I'm getting it, I'm telling her, okay, you can come to me about everything but this. And you can end up running into problems there, because if she a girl can't come to you, then she's gonna bound to come to somewhere else, whether it's a male or a female. And then even though that is wrong, I do believe that's wrong. You shouldn't want to go to someone else. But then that's how the little bonds, the little cracks in your relationship happens, and now another guy have like intel on you that he can say to make your girlfriend dislike you or not want to be with you. So I'll say like the way I worked on it was like just figuring out that like I have to be a man, I have to be like an adult with these things, and if I'm expecting her to come to me about everything, I have to be open to like all problems she's having, or when I should voice my opinion, when I should just listen. Only time I'm not gonna be listening if she's telling me the same issue that's just going on and on. I'm just thinking this is just too dumb. So like maybe I should try not to like think like that too much. But I feel like sometimes the girl should also work on like, okay, like I've been this stuff out. How can I solve it, and what can I ask my man to do for me to help better this situation? Whether it's like you were saying with insecurities. I think sometimes like a man should like when I take his girl out, make her feel like pretty, give her compliments, things like that. And I think once a guy gets a girl, he feels like he doesn't have to do them things no more. So which is why in the beginning girls feel like guys lie. When he has the capability of doing and treating you way in the beginning in a honeymoon stage, it just he doesn't feel he has to do these things anymore. So he got settled, he got content. He doesn't feel like he's dating you anymore. You guys are just together. So I think stuff like that is important. Dating, complimenting, making a girl feel special, and vice versa. Whether it's your girl doing stuff like for you sexually, making you feel like a man, showing really appreciation towards you. Some girls don't feel like that they need to do stuff like that because they could think they're being too much of a cheerleader. But like this is the things you should want to do for your man. Because most times girls are getting jealous if they see another female doing something that they used to do. No female should be able to do more stuff for your man or know more stuff about your man than you do, especially if you guys are having sex, you guys are serious, you guys are living together. You should be his biggest cheerleader and he should be your biggest supporter, and vice versa. But I think most times, like, once you get like real content, people struggle with like keeping that same energy alive, which I think like dating and going out and doing stuff with your person is like really big. But sometimes guys and girls, they go into their own world and forgetting that you guys are a team.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like complacency is the depth of success, and I feel like that's in all aspects of life. So like you shouldn't become complacent in anything, especially not your relationship. Like you should always be figuring out new ways to make your girl laugh, make her feel pretty, make her feel appreciated, and vice versa. Like your girl, she needs to realize that men are habit creatures, so the way she can make you feel appreciated is like learning her schedule, waking up early, making you coffee, learning how to cook your favorite meals and bringing it to you. Like I think nothing's hotter than a woman that knows your favorite meal, cooks it for you. You go to make your own plate, she says, no, sit down, I got this. So you go back in the room or the living room and turn on the TV, and then she brings that plate to you and give you a kiss on the cheek.
Yeah.
I don't think nothing's hotter than that. I think that's one of the best aspects of a relationship.
Yeah, I think stuff like that is important, but I think after a while, like certain girls, that kind of stuff isn't in them, or they're still like foolish things like, okay, like you have to bring the femininity out of me, or you have to take me out of my masculine frame. But
Yeah,
it's
I
like
don't believe that.
if you're like into these kind of things, like if you are away, there's nothing someone can do to change you to stop being that. Like if you're already a gentleman, opening the door for strangers or your girl is something you already do. So it's not like you're gonna go into a relationship like she has to make me want to be a gentleman, or vice versa. But like a girl, like why wouldn't you want to cook for your man? Why wouldn't you want to wake him up? Why would you want to do some of these things? Because if you're not doing this for this man, then you probably just shouldn't be with him. Because after a while, getting treated a certain way, you're gonna start looking in other places. Like everyone always know, like eventually you get used to like a person, but if you're not working and doing different things, the better this relationship, they're gonna want to leave. Because it's like, why are you more submissive to like your boss than your man? Then you have like all this females feel like they don't need men and not seeing a real value in a man, when it's like small things that you don't even notice. Like if you're walking by yourself, men could like approach you, but if they're walking with your man, it's a less likely a chance that a man would approach you since they see another man there. Then you have all this, I'm masculine, you have to bring me out of this, but it's like, why would a man want to deal with a female that's acting like a man trying to be masculine? That's too much stress you're gonna have to go on, and like you already have to deal with the world. Now you're coming home to dealing with another issue. You're coming home tired from work, dealing with another problem. And I think females should like want that. They should want to be a person that their man is coming to as a safe spot and a peace. But then you have situations where like girls, they'll say stuff like they are doing this stuff and the man is not doing anything. Then they have to like leave those men. I think people need to start having a higher standards for themselves. You shouldn't be doing anything for somebody that doesn't appreciate anything you're doing. Whether you are in love with them, you are attached to them, or you guys have some kind of special bond. It's like all you're doing is just cutting your scars and then putting band-aids over them, then ripping off and recutting. You're just opening wounds and doing the same thing, expecting like a new outcome. So I think when it comes to like dating, both males and females should try to figure out what exactly is coming about the situation. If someone's telling you what they want from you and you're not giving it to them and you stay with them, you're just foolish. If you want a loyal man, there's no reason you should be with somebody that's gonna constantly keep cheating on you, no matter what other good things they might have. So I feel like sometimes females or males, they settle for things they shouldn't settle for.
I would say though, I also believe that men need to stop getting with women that want that sort of treatment, but they know they can't provide it. Like I see a lot of men, they get with women that want a certain type of treatment. They want to be treated a certain type of way. They want a man that can really make them feel like a woman, but they know deep down within themselves that they can't bring that out of the girl. I do low-key believe that. Like they know deep down that like a man that gets with a woman that wants a man that's gonna pay for all of her bills, but he doesn't have a job to do that. I see it all the time.
Yeah,
it's like,
foolish.
bro, why would you get with a girl that wants a man to pay for all of her bills if you can't afford that? Or like a man that's an introvert but gets with a girl that's an outrovert that likes to go out and do things, and now he's offended because she always wants to go out and do things but he wants to stay at the house. So now he's trying to convince her to also be an introvert, but that's just not who she is.
Yeah, I do co-sign. I do believe you shouldn't, like, not only should you just know this person, know what kind of person you're dealing with, you shouldn't try to force anyone to change. They should want to change because they want to do it or they want to better themselves for you. Now, you trying to force someone to change, you're gonna always have like issues. Like I feel like there are ways you could help them, but they still have to want it. Like if you're an in-shape man, you shouldn't really expect too much from somebody like dealing with a girl that's like on a bigger side and trying to force her to lose weight, because she's already showing you that this is not something she want to do. Now there are cases you can like coach her and like make her start liking the gym the way you do, but once it starts seeming like you have to force them to be this way, trying to like make the person insecure or making them feel bad about the way of doing, like that never like truly works. And like the relationship you said you was dealing with where like the girl wanted you to be like a hood guy and you're not really a hood guy, or you're like more like what you said, like
More odd golf.
Yeah, so like if you're like those kind of ways and like her dealing with like a man because of some qualities you probably had that she was attracted to, but like her main focus is like hood niggas, then that was a relationship she should have knew wasn't gonna work. And I think people need to be real with themselves and real with the person that they with and who they're with. But there's other cases of like there's a guy that just mainly using this female for sex, and she just being blind towards this information, like thinking that he's want more and he doesn't want more. Because I think, what is that?
I was gonna ask her what she think on it, like that topic.
I honestly don't think I really have a say because the relationships I've been in, they weren't exactly. Like, can you do like a recap of everything?
Yeah, like so basically, like, do you think it's important for you to know the person you with, or do you believe that you can force someone to change or make them be similar like how you are?
I feel like you should know the person because my relationship, I'm not gonna label myself as an extrovert or an introvert. I think I fall more on the introvert side, but I love going out with my family. I love spending time with them, and for him, I guess he didn't have no one, and he'd be like, "Oh, it's us against the world." He would try to get me to stay home. I know I hated it, but I loved him for some reason, and he tried to. I missed so many like important family events because of him.
Mm-hmm.
I changed who I was for him, and I was not happy that way.
Okay, then.
So I feel like you should definitely know the person you're getting involved with.
So what do you think was the reason that you like stayed with him, like other than like an attachment or you loving him? Like, what was it about him that you felt like he's the person that deserves your love, or you should be attached to someone like him? What was he doing exactly?
He was very gentleman-like, which explaining like knowing what I've been through with him doesn't seem like it, but we would be driving and he see someone on the road, be like, "Hey, do you guys need help?" We parked in the store, an old lady's having trouble walking. He would go up, ask her for help. He would help just randomly without even asking, and he would just give support to others, but like never.
Okay, I mean, I think those are good. I think those are good qualities, but that seems more like that is someone who he is. But if it was just only him being a gentleman, then couldn't you just found that somewhere else, someone else being a gentleman or wanting to support old ladies? Because I know I see old ladies, and I'll help or holding the door. I think those are just common manners, though, like that kind of stuff, depending on how
like
you was raised.
This generation doesn't really have that because I've met
Yeah, it's
people
true.
who would enter the house, grab whatever snacks they wanted. Because I've experienced that. Someone in my house would grab snacks. I'm like, I'm not confrontational, so I didn't say anything, but like it gave me an off vibe about him. I did not like him.
Yeah.
Oh, well, him just coming to your house, just taking a snack, not asking?
Yeah, it's rude.
Yeah,
That's
that,
rude
yeah,
as
a
fuck.
lot of people don't
That's
have
rude
it.
as fuck. I ain't gonna lie. That is kind of crazy. But I ain't gonna lie. It's not like I always tell a girl the moment like I step in your house and this becomes my house, like I would go in the refrigerator, but as a joke. But I think you should love people for like who they are. But was it just only the way he was communicating that you guys' relationship didn't last long? Like, other than not communicating, what was he doing for you guys to separate, or for you, or what did he do for you? Like, you know what? I'm not being with this man no more. I can't take it no more.
We had our issues and we had arguments that would just like blow up, and he would always, no matter how much he claimed to love me, he would always run to someone else after we broke up, get in bed with them, and I didn't like it, but I went back every time, and I feel like that says a lot about what he thinks of females and who he is as a man.
Yeah, I believe like if you go to a different woman to get in bed with them on a break, I believe that you're not necessarily trying to solve the issue with the person you're in a relationship with. You're just either trying to hurt them by being petty, or you're just trying to distract yourself from actually resolving the issue by hopping into bed with somebody else. I feel like the only time a break is done with good intentions is if you're focused on thinking about different ways to come to a conclusion or solution with your partner rather than going out clubbing or trying to find a new person to connect with.
Yeah, I mean, I
Because
don't
you're
know.
just trying to replace your partner, and you're not going to be able to replace them because everybody's unique.
I don't really believe in the whole break thing. Like, I don't even really believe when women say they're working on themselves. Like, I don't see like any small kind of change. I just think all the break is an excuse for like whether it's a male or a female to go fuck someone else or go be with someone else because a relationship is not like some kind of video game. You go like, all right, let's go and pause real quick, and then you go into a different like game or some shit. Like, it's either you guys are together or you're not together. And most times, people be on breaks, still having sex or still doing stuff. So it's like, what? Like, why are we still doing the same stuff we'll be doing as if we were together? And like all this working on themselves that sometimes I know it's mainly girls that say it. Unless I'm being like sexist or biased, they'll say this whole break thing. And then it just seems like they're not even like doing anything better. They're just moving on to another man. Because I think what? Like females, they have to like, they gotta like battle it in their brain when they're gonna eventually leave until they finally are ready to leave, then they leave. And guys tend to like put up with like a lot of like nonsense that's going on. It could be situations like the guy's not happy and like the guy would still stay there with the relationship. Like, but I think like, well, with females, it's like once they're not happy, that's when the relationship has to end because their happiness is like so important. You got the whole happy wife, happy life. I don't even know why anyone believe that kind of shit. Not saying that a female's happiness isn't important, but if her happiness is the only thing that matters in this relationship, then that means she's above everything. Like you can't do that. You can't do nothing wrong. She can't do anything wrong. She's perfect. You have to be perfect for her. And it's like I don't think being unhappy should be a reason you guys break up. Cause then, what is the reason that you are unhappy? Like, is it something this man's doing, or you don't want to be with this man? Cause it be in a situation where like you stop doing some shit, and then a guy, her coworker, could be giving her compliments, feeding her all this nonsense, and then she thinks she should leave somebody she just was with years with to be with this new man that's acting the way the current man is. You stack. I was like, because girls always brag about all the options they have, and all the men that's in their DM, these are not even options or people they want to be with. These are like guys that just want to fuck. And I think girls like have this delusional mind to believe all the guys that text them, she could just choose any of these guys to be with. And it's like, you don't even want some of these guys. That's why you haven't responded to them. So it's something your man is doing, but he did right for you guys to get in this relationship. But once he stopped doing something, even if you communicate with him, I think sometimes females don't stand on what they're saying until like the last minute. Because sometimes guys don't start working on bettering the relationship to the last minute. Or it's a situation where like it took to the ending of the relationship for the girl to realize the change this man was doing.
I would say I somewhat agree. The only part I don't agree on is the happiness thing. Being a somewhat religious man, I feel as though it's important for your wife to be happy. I do believe in happy wife, happy life because, as it said for me, your wife needs to be, it goes wife, then kids. And then for the woman, it goes husband, then kids.
That's true.
If your wife's not happy and if you're not happy, then your team is weak. Because it's your job to protect the kids from the world. So if your shield got cracks and nicks in it, then your kids are vulnerable. So I believe both parties should be happy. Now I'm not delusional. You can't be happy 24/7. And obviously you should have a strong pride in your family. Like your family should come first. Your happiness shouldn't be above abandoning your family. You know what I'm saying? Like you should try to keep your family together at all costs. But you should definitely be making every effort to make your wife happy, and vice versa. You should be making every effort to make your husband happy. It actually should bring you joy to make them happy, to be honest. And when you're not making them happy, it should be in your best interest to figure out a way to change that factor and make them happy again.
How do you feel about the like the dynamics of who deserves to be happy? Do you think like both of them, or does one party matter more than the other person? Cause I do agree with what he was saying with both people should be like happy to a certain degree.
Yeah, I feel like it's like cause and effect. Happy wife, happy life. Because if you make your lady happy, she will make you happy. She will provide for you. She will build a home.
Yeah.
That's just what I
agree.
see. And like coming from me, if I was made happy, like I would just project that onto him as well.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, I agree if you guys like putting it that way, but I only say that because I think most times it always just seems like there's so much more you got to do. I think sometimes like this not being appreciative of like some of the things that you can do. I dealt with it a little bit. I've seen it happen with some people in my family, like with like the marriages they was in. It seemed like the guy was doing so much for the girl and none of the stuff was like reciprocated. And I think that's when I don't believe like the happy wife, happy life. Cause it's like if he's doing so much for you and then like and you can't name too much stuff you're doing for him, it just seems like it's just one sided. And then what ends up happening is the guy end up cheating on the girl, being with somebody else. Cause it's like I'm doing everything for you, you're not doing anything for me. So then the girl be confused, like, oh, you went to this girl, she doesn't have this, she doesn't have that, and it's like she like listens to what he says and values the things he says and makes him feel like he is important. And I think sometimes like women like shy away from valuing like their man because they're just assuming he's good. Like he goes to work, he does everything, everything's fine. But like most men, I feel like they're like they don't value their happiness. They care more about their girl, like their family and stuff. But I think if the man is not in a good position in his brain, then he can eventually just start saying, fuck you guys, and nobody in here's appreciating me, so I'm just going to say, forget about my family. I don't think men should get to that point. I feel like they should try to, like, stay strong, but if he has no one that he could talk to or, like, that could, like, give him a different perspective, and he's seeing too much of stuff that his wife is not doing for him, but he's seeing in other places, that's how, like, I'll say a wife ends up, like, breaking up her home when she's caring too much about everything except her man. Like you were saying, it does go husband, then kids. But I know now generation, a lot of people, they put their kids before their husband. I don't really think that's wrong because you guys created these kids. So, like, if you guys aren't good, you can't raise a kid. Like, that's why you have so many broken homes because it's just something the person didn't agree with that he couldn't compromise. They was like, okay, like we're better off just raising the kids in two different homes instead of just trying to figure out a common ground so both co-parenting could work. But I also don't believe that people being miserable and living together for the kid's sake. I don't believe in that either because the kid eventually is gonna see through the lies you guys having, whether you're not kissing, you guys aren't kissing. Or you guys aren't going on dates, you guys don't look happy, you guys are in separate rooms. And I think like parents are the first teachers to kids because these are the first adults that you see. And so I'll say like I think what you was talking about communication and you was saying like being transparent. Then I think what I was saying was just valuing and caring about both people. So it's like knowing that isn't anything like you learned today that you can like think of, but like hearing my point and hearing his side of the things we went through in our relationship and what he's going through in his current relationship is anything you learned or would like to share?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Like right now I can't think of anything.
Okay, and what about you? Is anything you learned or like you got like anything that changed your perspective on our relationship?
I mean, I learned that, people can have different points and still have good intentions to make sure a relationship succeeds. I wouldn't say I necessarily learned anything new, but I feel like that's mainly because I put in so much effort to know as much as possible to make sure my relationship succeeds. So yeah, I would say I didn't gain any new perspectives, but I did enjoy hearing y'all's points and hearing how y'all's attack making sure your relationship, succeeds.
Yeah. I agree. I didn't really. Besides, like hearing you guys' different perspectives, like I can agree with what you guys are saying and like see your point as far as like the wife and like happy life thing. My only thing is I just feel like sometimes all attention gets steered into like one direction because like you'll hear from like most dads or most people that you like most older guys that you talk to, their whole life is just about taking care of people and no one really showing that much appreciation towards them. Whether it's holidays, like you can just look at the recent holidays past, Mother's Day. That's a big ass holiday for people to have. Like especially moms. Not saying moms aren't like valued, but Father's Day, people don't really even give a fuck about Father's Day. You even have females trying to take that, talking about I played mother and father. So it's like, damn, but the guy can't have anything. So when it's like too much of be a man, be strong, be this. Like I don't think there's anything wrong giving that kind of advice. But if a man doesn't have no space where he can like voice how he's feeling, I think that's when it become a problem. So I'll say as long as like men can like they can have someone to talk to that can keep it real with them rather than them like wanting them to continue being weak. I think that we can like both sides of male and female can work in a relationship as long as both of you guys want it. It can like happen to help better relationship. So I'll say that will conclude the like the podcast. CPS.
Yeah.
Out.
CSB.
CSB out.
CSB out!